Ghost energy. It's a drink.
Hi, welcome to Invisipedia News. My name is your host. Hi, welcome back to Invisipedia News. I'm your host, Samson Friedrich. Today we have a very special guest today. Raised from the dead, Friedrich Hayek.
Friedrich Hayek.
So anyways, tell us about your life story.
Well, you see, when I was 10, I was really interested
Anyways, alright, let's get to the good stuff. Tell us about your economic philosophy.
Oh, well, you see, when I turned 20, I was drafted into the Great War and the fight in the Italian front side. And I lost my hearing there as well. But what made me want to go into economics was my experiences in the war made me want to search for a way to keep these wars from happening and to create a utopia in the economy. And that's what interested me to go into the economics.
We interrupt this broadcast with another sponsor, Red Bull. It gives you wings. No, Kinsey, no, don't.
So what did you do after the war?
I decided to pursue my interests at the University of Vienna in 1918, and I majored in political science and law. And when I first went into college, I was interested in socialism at first, because that at the time in Austria was very politically and economically argued. But my interest in socialism was very discouraged, and I got to meet one of my mentors there named Ludwig von Mises, and he encouraged me that socialism had so many flaws in it and made me pursue into other interests like the free market and capitalism.
So if socialism didn't work, what did you do?
Well, as I continued in college, me and Mises began to converge on our ideas more, and we began talking about these capitalism theories, and we created the Austrian School of Economics where we promoted these theories, and eventually we created a big theory against Keynesian economics, of course, and we created something called the Austrian business cycle theory. Now, this cycle is pretty simple. So we start off with a government that is running low on money and is at a low point. So what happens? The government and the banks, they have to borrow, causing lower interest rates, and therefore the economics and the money is going up, causing a boom politically and economically in the government. But of course, this is an unsustainable boom because it's based on debt, and it creates malinvestments to where we reach the top, malinvestments happen, and we go back down. And we're at the bottom again. What happens? The economics will have to borrow again, and it just continues and continues forever. So there you have 5 big booms in less than a year.
Speaking of booms, your theory wasn't very successful, would you say?
Well, I would disagree, and many others would too, but it is indeed true that a lot of people did criticize it and against it, and it had many flaws in reality, and I would say that.
So it was a bust. But you know what wasn't a bust? This book right here. In this book, you mentioned an idea of spontaneous order. Could you elaborate on that?
So, what I wrote in the book, The Road to Serfdom, was spontaneous order would always occur in a socialism environment. Because what happens is when the government controls the economic policies and everyone shares in the socialism environment, eventually people will always want to tend towards their own needs and pursue their own interests, and eventually it could create their own unintentional free markets. And this would happen due to spontaneous order. Spontaneous order is always going to occur because of these things. And so when the government of a socialism environment sees that everyone's becoming individual and it's going against their own policies, the government will put restrictions on it and will enforce the people to conform with these socialism economic policies. Therefore, it could always lead to totalitarianism and eventually communism. So that's why socialism, as I say in The Road to Serfdom, is that socialism cannot work.
So to summarize, socialism is bad, and that takes away the freedom of the people, and which can often lead to wars and can sometimes lead to communism.
Yeah, that's clearly what I said.
Alright, that's our interview with Friedrich Hayek, and that's his life story, his economic philosophy, and thank you very much.
It's pronounced.
Alright, buddy, that's enough out of you. Security.
What
Thank you to our sponsors. I'm Samson Fridge.
Get your hand
and this is Wikipedia News.
It's pronounced Friedrich.
This podcast is sponsored by Chick-fil-A. It's chicken, I think.